do is called Conversation with the CEO. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited about this particular episode because, I've been kind of watching this guy, and I think he's pretty super smart. And one thing about Conversations with the CEO, the whole point of this show is to make sure we're speaking to people that are a lot smarter than I. And that's the whole point, and we're excited about it. He is the CEO of MVP Holdings, Inc. That's a great name, MVP. He probably is just that, an MVP, by the way. So y'all get excited about it. Probably was picked in the first round of the NFL draft. His name is Casey Musick. How you doing, Casey?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, I'm so excited. You got what is called a diversified holding company.
Right.
My mom always told me, and my grandmother always told me, be diversified. It obviously that's true, and you take it to the next level. You made sure that your whole company is diversified. Talk to me about that for a minute. Diversification, just in general. Why is it so important?
Well, I think being diversified is means that you've got your hand. Depending on what it is, right? You've got your hands in multiple different things, right? So let's say one industry has a rough time, but you've got other industries, which other companies that are doing fine. It helps keep things going, right? It helps to keep things balanced. Diversified is really just about being balanced, and we always want to be balanced in everything that we're doing every day, whether that's personal life or business.
Okay. Now I want to talk to you about one of your products that I'm kind of interested in personally. So we'll go there first. So I just found out about the air fryer. Okay. So it's been a game changer for my house. And we literally cook everything in that thing. And you have a product that basically turns almost anything into an air fryer. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah, absolutely.
So tell me what it is, because it seems pretty awesome. And I'm hearing that you're going to be in Costco, or you're already in Costco and Sam's Club and that kind of thing. So it's got to be some awesome product.
Right. So one of our brands is a company called Mealthy Inc. Right. It's a kitchen and food brand.
Okay.
We build pressure cookers. We have an air fryer lid. We're actually in the process of building our new standalone air fryer. We've got blenders, mixers, pans. So we're in the kitchen space. But yeah, our top product is called the Mealthy Crisp Lid. So this lid turns our pressure cookers, whether it's a 6-quart or 8-quart, into an air fryer. So instead of having multiple appliances sitting on your countertop or shoved away in your cabinets, right? You can take, theoretically, you can take an 8-quart pot and do the same thing, but the pot's gonna get a little hot, right? So with it being inside the liner in our pressure cooker, you can turn it into an air fryer. So people use it for everything from just air frying stuff to finishing off a recipe that they cooked in their pressure cooker, right? Put a little cheese on top of it, throw the crisp lid on top of there, kind of melt that cheese, brown it up a little bit, and you got a better meal than you had before. And it is in Costco.
Oh, it's in Costco.
Right. Well, so it's on Costco.com. Costco buys from us as a wholesaler, and it's on Costco.com right now. We're working to get it in stores. We're looking we're doing an in-store test here probably in the next month or so, just waiting to get enough inventory into our warehouses so that we can do the in-store test with Costco.
Let me ask you this. Getting into Costco is like, what is the creme de la creme? They don't just let anybody on their website or in their stores. So it says quite a bit about you as a person and your company. So, tell us, how did you develop that relationship with Costco that you were even able to get your product on the website?
Well, so originally Mealthy started as basically really just a kind of an online brand, DTC, direct to consumer, right? So we started on Amazon, did about $6 million the first year on Amazon, did a little over $11.5 million through the first 2 years. And so we really gained a lot of traction through our websites, through our following. We got a pretty large following, social media wise, group wise. We're close to 500,000 followers between all our social platforms. And, we have relationships, right? We've got one of our COO, Zach, CEO for Mealthy, Zach Clune, has spent a long time in the wholesale industry. He used to work for Blendtec. Blendtec is a huge blender company, right? It's one of the largest blender manufacturers in the world. So he spent quite a few years there, and he came over with us in towards the end of 2019, and he had a lot of those relationships already built, knew a lot of the right people. So we were able to kind of get that dialogue started, and they saw the traction that we already had on Amazon. And we've got the product's got thousands of amazing reviews. We've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pieces of content. Independent reviews from influencers and food bloggers and food critics and all this other stuff that have used it. They say it's a great product. The one thing about the product is that you don't only use it on our pressure cookers, you can use it on competitors' pressure cookers.
Really?
The 900-pound gorilla in this industry is Instant Pot. Everybody more or less knows about Instant Pot nowadays.
Yeah.
Right. Our crisp lid can be used on any 6 or 8 quart Instant Pot pressure cooker as well, and that's really the game changer for us. Right. That's where we can jump into all those customers and also make them Mealthy customers as well.
Man, let me ask you: the pandemic seemed to force people to learn how to cook anyway, get creative with their cooking. Are people going to go back to eating out, or is this going to be kind of a norm now, where people are just, because I enjoy learning how to cook some things personally, like stuff I'd never tried before. I was trying, and I'm enjoying it. Are we going to go back to eating out and putting that pressure cooker and that air fryer back? What do you think about that?
I mean, obviously things are gonna change a little bit, but even if it did go back, it's gonna take quite a while. And even if it does, people have still realized, hey, I know how to cook now, or I took the time to cook, or a lot of people go, hey, you know what? I'd rather save the money, or I'd rather eat healthier. Right? When we go out and eat at a restaurant, I don't care where you're eating. It's more than likely there's extra butter on that steak. There's extra salt in this. There's extra gravy on that. There's extra dressing on my salad. Right? I mean, it's like go to the fast food places, right? And people think I'm going to eat a salad. It's healthier. Well, gosh, salad's probably one of the worst things on the menu because of all the dressing you put on it. Right? I think a lot of things are going to stay the same, right? People have realized that lifestyles change. We're coming out with a new product as well that's going to help make cooking at home even easier. And
what product is that? What is that?
So we're actually launching a food brand, and it's called Gourmet. So it stands for Gourmet in Minutes, right? We are developing pressure cooker meal start, what we call pressure cooker meal starters. Right? If you take a pressure cooker, and I've got 3 pressure cookers sitting over there on the table. If you take a pressure cooker, what it does is it cooks things faster, right? It doesn't make it easier, it makes it faster. But what we're doing is developing kits to take out all the prep work, right? All your measuring of spices, maybe you don't even have the spices, you got to go to the store to get it. Chopping potatoes, carrots, onions, celery, whatever it might be, right? You're chopping all the vegetables for your prep work. Our meal starters take all that out of the equation, right? It comes with a pasta or rices or beans. It comes with vegetables. It comes with all the spices that you need to do maybe a shrimp jambalaya or a shrimp gumbo or a shrimp risotto or a chicken and wild rice or, different things. And all you have to do is add a protein if you want, whether that's a chicken or shrimp or something like that, and add a broth or liquid, depending on what the recipe calls for, right? You dump the package in, you dump the liquid in real quick, you take your chicken thighs, you dump it in there, you put the lid on, you press a button, you walk away. 30, 35 minutes later, you got a complete meal ready to go. And you're done.
That's awesome. That whole gourmet at the house is a growing industry, man. So I mean, it seems like you're already ahead of the game, because that whole heat it up and go is important to people, but they do want the gourmet meal. They don't want you know what I mean?
Right. I mean, there's in this industry, there's not a lot of focus around the pressure cooker side, right? There's a frozen food company out there right now that's doing frozen stuff, but you can dump that in a microwave or you can dump that in a regular pot, dude. It's not really pressure cooker stuff, right? It's just press a button and go, and it reheats it. This still gives you the ability to create something fresh, right? You didn't get it. It's not a meal kit, right? You didn't get something that was made 2 weeks ago or last week and it was shipped to your house in a cold box, right? That's still microwave. That's still microwave food, right? It is what it is. Same thing with frozen, but with our stuff, we're taking out all the labor and making it easy so that you can still prepare a gourmet meal at home that tastes gourmet. It doesn't taste like it's reheated frozen or taste like it's reheated and it was made, a week ago in some, kitchen far away, right?
Wow, wow. You a family man? You got a big family? Cook a
Oh
lot?
man, I got my wife and I got 6 kids.
Wow. So what's the barbecue like over at your house?
It's not big enough.
Oh, wow,
I
man.
got my barbecue on one side. I got my flat top on the other side. So it's constantly going, and it takes up all. We can't cook enough ribs on the barbecue. We're either getting a bigger one or we're figuring out a different strategy.
Now, since you got all these products that do all this pressure cooking, what's your best meal? What's the biggest thing that you're able to make? Like if I came over to your house right now and you were to tell me and you serve me something and I'd run home and tell my whole family about it, what would it be?
You know what, man? We're actually, I don't want to sound like I'm pushing product, but we're developing one of my favorite things is actually my favorite thing in it is my wife's white chicken chili.
Oh,
Like I'm addicted to it. I mean, I'll sit there. I'm like, babe, don't make that because I'm gonna eat like 4 bowls. Right? And then when it's gone the next day when I get home because the kids are eating all leftovers, I'm usually mad. Like, man, who ate the rest of it? Right?
wow.
But we're actually coming out with one of our meal starters is a chicken and wild rice stew. Oh God, it's so good. It's so good. It's so easy. It's crazy easy. Like when we started developing these things and taking a lot of our most popular recipes off our website, and we made the first sample, the first time we got our first sample and we put it in, it literally took me like 3 minutes to put it all in and press a button and it was done. So we own a building here and our tenants next door came and knocked on the door like, hey, what are you guys doing in there? we can smell it over here. It was awesome. Which got me really excited. So that's one of the things too, that every time we get a sample, I'm like, oh, let's cook up some chicken and wild rice stew.
Oh, I love it, man. You got me hungry right now. Speaking of recipes, you offer those as well with everything you got on the website?
Right, absolutely. Our website, for one, contains almost 2,000 recipes on it, right? And most of those recipes are focused around our small kitchen appliances, whether it's our
Okay.
pressure cookers, whether it's our blenders, whether it's our crisp lid, whatever it might be. We also have our mobile app that also has, you can save your recipes on there that you like on your profile, whatever, if you download the Mealthy mobile app. And then anytime you buy an appliance from us, there's also a small recipe book inside that that's specifically for that appliance. So anytime you open up the box, there's all kinds of goodies in there. We send you discount cards and some other stuff. And then there's a recipe book. It's usually about 40 pages or so, 30, 40 pages, depending on the appliance.
Okay, man. Now let's get to some other products as well. Like you're in the real estate. You just mentioned that one of your tenants. So you're in the real estate. Talk about that as well. How is that business doing right now with you? And what are some of the things you got coming up in terms of some acquisitions within that even as well?
Right, it's a little tough, obviously, man. Real estate right now is obviously unless you're in residential, even residential real estate can be a little bit tough if you have renters. We all know that the COVID thing kind of put a kink in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
We actually own the office building that we're in, and the office building is big enough that we also have a few tenants that rent separated spaces within that building as well. So we have that building. We're looking at some warehouse acquisitions. A lot of that is just for expansion for Mealthy, bringing our fulfillment and warehousing in-house as opposed to using a 3PL partner. So we're looking at a lot of that stuff. As far as more acquisitions on the real estate side, really it's just going to revolve around how the market kind of looks over the next year or so. Single family residentials, it's hopping, at least here in Fresno where we're at. They're building houses absolutely everywhere. And they're building apartments absolutely everywhere as well. So we have an interest in multifamily residential stuff. So we keep an eye on it and kind of see where it's at. But right now, everything here is super high. So you probably won't see any acquisitions from us on that side unless it's on the warehouse piece for the Mealthy company.
Now, I like you a lot, man. So one of my favorite shows now is Undercover Billionaire, where they drop a person off with $100 in a truck in a place they've never been.
Right.
I would like to see you on that show. Can we get you on Undercover Billionaire? Because I believe you could take something out of nothing and turn it into something special. You just come off that way.
I appreciate that. Well, if I ever get to be a billionaire, man, they can call me up. But I've actually watched a couple episodes of that. Funny enough, one of the people were here in Fresno. They actually sent him here in Fresno, which is crazy. So I watched a few of those episodes. I actually know the place that the lady kind of turned around. I don't remember what her name was, but and then the other one was that I watched was with Grant Cardone on it.
Yeah.
So it was kind of neat. I don't watch a ton of TV. I just don't have a lot of time. And if I do, it's usually on sports or history or travel channel or cooking shows. So I don't watch a lot of like regular TV shows unless my wife forces me to.
I got you. I understand that, man. Hey, that's how you keep those marriages lasting long. Now, I got a lot of people who got a couple questions. I want to ask them to you personally. Now, there's new investors when they hear words like reverse mergers and things like that. Can you explain what that is and how that works out, and what's the pros and the cons to like a reverse merger with a business, and so that they understand what they're getting into as best you can?
Right. So reverse merger in the most common phrase is normally when a public or a private company takes over a public company. And normally that only happens down in the OTC market, right? You got smaller companies that have gone through the public, through the whole the process of becoming public, but maybe the company didn't work out, or whatever business they had didn't work out, but they still what they call a shell, right? It's still a shell. They still own the corporation. It's still publicly traded. Maybe not. Maybe current, maybe not be current. But you have private companies that it's a lot easier to go through a reverse merger and a lot faster and a lot less expensive, more often than not, than to go through the process of becoming public on their own. As far as the pros and cons, I mean, for each side, I mean, the pros for the company that's for the public company is that you're now putting a viable business inside that. It's now becoming a viable business again, right? As opposed to just being a shell or something else. The pro on the private side is, hey, now you've become public. Now you've opened yourself up to, a lot broader capital markets, a lot broader investors, liquidity for investors. Because right, when you invest in a private company, there's no liquidity. You don't sell that. You sell that if you get acquired, or if you decide to sell your ownership to somebody else, right? Or management buyout or whatever it might be. So there's really no liquidity when you invest in a private company, and that's the liquidity that you get with the public side. The cons on that side is right now, obviously, you have a lot more people to answer to, right? There's a lot more people that really, and sometimes, down at the OTC level, you don't know what's going to get people excited. You don't know what's going to get people going, oh my God, I got to get out. You just don't know. I mean, that could change from day to day, right? And so that's the tough part.
So real quick, so how do you, because I look at OTC as, you might see something that maybe 7, 8 years from now, it might be huge, but sometimes it's hard for people to stay in because they are listening to too many people. Like, it's like, to me, you got to trust the CEO, the way they are with Elon Musk and where he is at this day. I mean, if the people didn't trust Elon, they might have sold off instead of holding on and doing what he's doing now. So how do you, in the OTC market, stay with a company that you believe in when everybody's in your ear going, uh-oh, they're in trouble. They're not current again. They went from pink to yield. It's kind of hard.
Right. So, I mean, a lot of times what happens down at the OTC level is you have smaller companies, right? They're not, you've got a few big ones, and like Nintendo's they're worth 40 billion. They're still peak. I mean, it's so, but more often than not, smaller companies, and unfortunately, more often than not, there's a lot of, that's where a lot of your stuff, your not so nice stuff happens, right? There's a lot of, unfortunately, with the good comes the bad, so a lot of bad at that level as well. But really, I mean, you have to. For me, I look at it as, if a company's actually doing something, and a company's actually got products, and if a company's at least posting financials, even if they're not current sometimes, because what goes into current sometimes is just a lot of hoops you got to jump through. And I've done this all myself with MVP, and it's been dark for a decade, and we're getting ready to go current any day. We just posted our attorney opinion letter this morning, or filed that, so we should see current status any day. There's a lot of hoops to get to that, man. It's taken me a year and a half to get to this point. when I started on this project. So I feel like, if you can verify that a company actually has a product, actually has a service, actually has assets, shows revenues, you know what, then that's something that you really got to figure out. Is this something I like? In the OTC, though, a lot of times there's just not a lot of patience, right? There's a lot of get rich quick stuff in there. Oh, hey man, if I buy 7 million shares at under a penny and this thing goes to 3 cents, man, I'm gonna make it, right? So unfortunately, that's you get a lot of that, but you've got a lot of good companies that have come out of this level. Berkshire Hathaway at one point in time was a pink sheet. There's a lot of great companies, and I think you just got to look for one where the company's CEO, whoever it is, the team is providing value. I mean, everything is about an exchange of value in this life. So,
Well, listen, we're almost out of time, but I love to ask this question. Young people who want to be CEOs, talk to them. What would you give them as advice after all these years of experience?
You just got to be diligent. You got to continue to push forward. I'm not going to lie to you, man. There's been a lot of ups and downs. There's been a lot of failures. I've failed at a lot of different things. I've been successful at a lot of different things. But you just got to be diligent. You got to continue to push forward, man. This life is about the journey, not the destination. And part of that journey is the ups and downs. You don't learn how to be successful without failing first, because you take those failures and go, listen, I know what not to do. Let me make that change and continue putting one foot on the other, moving forward. There's no quick route. There's no Bezos wasn't an overnight success. Elon wasn't an overnight success. Facebook, all these things weren't overnight successes. These guys failed at other stuff before they came upon, oh wow, Amazon's an overnight success. No, Amazon's been around for like 30 plus years. We just didn't really see it and use it until 5, 6, 7 years ago, right? So just be diligent. Continue. If you know who you are and what you want, don't let anybody else talk you out of it.
Man, I appreciate that. Hey, Mr. Casey Musick, how can people get in contact with you if they want to reach out to you and find out more about your company and what you guys are doing?
Right, there's multiple ways you can follow me on Twitter. I'm pretty active on Twitter, and that's Casey M and then Musick, my last name, Musick. You can follow us at MVP Holdings Inc. on Twitter as well. You can also email me, Casey, that's CASEY at MVPHoldingsInc.com, and then I'm pretty good at responding to stuff as long as the questions are rational and relevant.
Yeah. All right, man. Thank you for your time. I say he's a man that really makes music. That's the reason why his last name is Musick. That's this episode of Conversation with the CEO. We appreciate you. Remember, always try to grow, because when you're not growing, you're dying. All right. We'll see you later.